What's up, folks? Um, yeah, I decided to do just a random live today. I actually just shut the laptop off for the holiday weekend, so we're just going to be talking about the market. If there's any topics you guys have specifically, we can talk through those. I'm not sure how I'm not sure if anything is going to be like glitchy or slow in here. This is the first time I've done this setup, so I have no idea. I have no idea how this is going to go. So you guys can let me know how it's going, like if it's laggy or what. But anyways, I'm just going to be doing some sorting here. I'm kind of getting geared up for TCG player, so I'm kind of taking the plunge, and you can tell I have this mat I put together here. This very I don't know, official mat. It just kind of helps me sort things um, alphabetically, and I basically have everything up to this point. I've got everything broken down by set for Scarlet and Violet, and now I'm just going through, and I am just kind of sorting at this point. And ultimately, I'm waiting for my account uh, to get unlocked because I created a seller's account, and I'm waiting for that to unlock. I think they basically put a pause on accounts if you aren't active for a certain amount of time and it's new, because I know there's a lot of like sketchy accounts that are created where they basically go on, they have they like will buy products and manipulate the prices on TCG player. So I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to kind of avoid that, and kind of keep tight control over the number of like real accounts basically. So I basically fell victim to that. And I'm just kind of waiting until that account goes live again, and then once it goes live, I'll have at least some of these ready to go to be listed, and at that point, hopefully start making some sales. I know it's going to be slow at first, but my goal is to yeah, it sounds like a good old time. My goal is to cast a pretty wide net up front, and basically, if you guys can't hear, that's my beagle in the background. Basically, cast the wide net, list as many cards as possible. I don't care what the prices are. I'm not really going to discriminate up front. And then after I sort of eventually get enough sales, and have enough of a reputation, then maybe kind of back off on some of these lower priced items. And I do have a lot of other, like, I want to say higher priced cards that I will be listing too, but right now I'm just going through. These are all Temporal Forces reverse hollows. They're all near mint. Again, before I started doing this, I didn't look into what was what, which cards were selling well. I'm just kind of jumping in, and I'm going to go ahead and try to develop a system too, right? Because I'm also trying to do that. So, what better time than, during a holiday weekend or, period to do that and just kind of take the plunge. So, but yeah, I'm just going to kind of talk now. I mean, the market's pretty crazy. I can't really tell you how many people have kind of expressed concerns, or just reaching out to me in general, who aren't necessarily part of the wholesale program, who are looking for products or looking for some sort of guarantee of allocations for some of these hotter sets coming up. And unfortunately, it's just kind of it's kind of a tough situation, right? Because a lot of people don't. I don't know. It kind of comes back to, um, time in the market versus timing the market. It's the same kind of fundamental here, where those who have been here for a while and really understand what's going on are going to benefit from this and benefit from this craziness and the hype that is going on. And it's very clear to me that there's just a ton of people who are jumping into this, and really you're just looking for quick, easy tendies. And those are the people that really aren't going to stick around. Unfortunately, are going to clog up the system for those who have been here for a while. And some of them are actually going to be here, right? And they're going to stick around long term, because that's kind of what happened to me. Even though when I jumped in, it was a little bit of a different situation. I essentially found some of my old cards, and it drew me back in, and hence created a little brand and business out of it. But it's going to be interesting to see how many people actually stick around versus they're just here to kind of make a quick buck and then they basically skedaddle. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I know Surging Sparks was the first set where we really had to cut allocations for our wholesale program. Prior to that, we had SV 1 through 7 with the 2 specialty sets, obviously 151 and Paldean Fates. 151, I can't really speak to in terms of allocations, just because we were so new and we really didn't have a lot of spend in our program. But Paldean Fates, I feel like we received a decent amount of it. We even received, I think, some booster bundle cases, which are heavily allocated. So it's going to be kind of an uncertain time, right? And there's not going to be any kind of, I'd say, guarantees when it comes to product allocations, because, the program's been growing in terms of the membership base. We have been spending a lot more. So we're hoping that obviously proportionally increases our allocations, but at the same time, we have a set now that everybody wants. So it's going to be tough going forward, at least for Prismatic. And then after that, right, the craziness and the hype doesn't necessarily go away either. We're going to go into a Team Rocket set. We're going to go into basically like a gym partners, or like gym hero, gym challenge type set with the trainer Pokemon. They're going to bring that back. So that's going to create a stir. And then we're ultimately leading up to Pokemon 30th anniversary. So it is not going to cool down anytime soon. And, again, the people who stick around and can kind of weather the storm, which is kind of what happened over the last year and a half, 2 years, those people are going to be rewarded, because they're going to, come away with an understanding of how the market works. And ultimately, hopefully they come out of it with some product that, gains value over time, because ultimately it's some of this stuff, depending on what you're doing with it, it's an investment. And then for other people, it's product and inventory. And, we have a lot of, I would say, different people in the wholesale program who are doing a lot of just really cool stuff. From where's the W? From just having an online store, which is obviously the hardest thing to do in this hobby, because it takes little to no work, and you're competing with hundreds, if not thousands, of other people. You have online stores to people who rip and ship, which is a little bit harder because you really have to have more inventory and capital involved. You can't just kind of say, I'm going to go, do a streaming or create a streaming brand and then not have any product or skin in the game, because the algorithm is a very real thing. And, if you don't have inventory and you're not streaming constantly, it's going to be hard to kind of get ahead and get into the algorithm, regardless if it's Whatnot, TikTok, YouTube. So people are doing that. And I think some people have been really, really successful with that. So I think having a solid stream of product has been good for them, at good prices. And then we have some people who do the the in person, which is, like the traveling around, doing collecticons, doing shows, things like that. And that to me, from what I've heard and what I've learned from them, as someone who hasn't started that process yet and getting into that, that's where you really kind of make your money. And you have some really good returns, right? Because people are on the floor shopping. You can trade, right? You might find somebody who really wants something else that you have, and you can trade up in terms of value, right? If they really want your item, they might value it higher, and therefore you can kind of trade up and trade into more value. So it's definitely something that I've considered doing in the future. But we just haven't really taken the plunge yet with, we're going to be getting married next year, and kind of got to get through that first, which, we're not going to get through it. It's going to be a fun time, but it's just something that, we have to prioritize at this point. But yeah, Fernando, trainers, reverses, and rares for right now. And that's just this stack, right? I do have a lot of other product. We have stacks of, like WotC and things like that. We have thousands of XY, EX, black and white, heart gold, soul silver. So there's a lot of other cards that I want to get through too and get listed. But for right now, I think because of the playability aspect of these, and because I'm going to prioritize the volume of the number of transactions, the number of positive transactions. That's why I'm deciding to kind of go this route first and just kind of start to get some positive transactions under my belt. Yeah, appreciate that, Ferrum. Yeah, it's definitely stressful, but we're getting through it. She's been, to her credit, she's been kind of driving a lot of it, and she's a planner. I'll just put it that way. So we're doing well. And okay, so this is Paldean and Fates. I was going to say we have 2 Azumarils, so that's going to go into the Paldean and Fates pile. But yeah, it's a good time. We just have to keep kind of moving forward, and we got all the big stuff checked off. So we got the DJ, floral. We have the venue obviously picked out. That was step 1. And we just got, what did we do? We just got the save the dates out, which means, we obviously had our photo shoot and stuff. So it's moving. It's moving. So I'm just going to, I guess at this point, I've got to kind of sort these off to the side. But I'll keep talking here. But yeah, what do you guys, anybody doing anything exciting for the holidays? I guess the good thing is I don't have to go anywhere, which is nice. Really, I don't know, hour and a half, which really isn't that bad. I know some people really travel quite a ways for the holidays, which can be kind of stressful. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's the holidays. It's a good time. Oh, let me see here. I'm trying to get back over to you guys on the screen. Basically trying to get these sorted here. Has anybody looked? I guess I started to look into, and this is kind of getting out in front of the horse a little bit, but I started to look into a machine that sorts these, right? So you can sort them by rarity. You can sort them by, the alphabet. I think you can do by number. I'm not entirely sure. Fernando might have a better idea than me, but I know there's some machines that are relatively inexpensive compared to some of these bigger machines that exist. And that's something that I think would be cool, kind of going forward, because I know there's some like Magic the Gathering opportunities or plays in the wholesale program, where you buy them, you break them down, and being able to have a machine that kind of just breaks them down for you and sorts them for you, instead of having to obviously do this by hand, is pretty advantageous. But it's obviously got to pay for itself. So yeah. So the other thing too, kind of wanted to talk about was all the crazy restocks. I woke up this morning, I had like, a couple hundred, probably close to a couple hundred notifications for, like restocks and drops and stuff like that, for these specifically, I guess, these striker tins that were being restocked on Walmart. The other things that were being restocked as well. Maybe I'll do this way. I'll get these all picked up and then we'll go from there. I don't know if anybody was able to pick any up. I was able to grab only a couple, and unfortunately it wasn't the Evolving Skies variant, but there was a lot of Evolving Skies that basically just hit the market today, from specifically, I guess it was more specifically Walmart. So I know, I was kind of kicking myself because, to be honest, I was kind of brushing that play off. I did not pick any up. So I definitely am feeling a little bit of FOMO right now, but at the same time, I mean, even if that was the last time to pick up bulk Evolving Skies, it's I don't know. It's not like I'm really missing the boat. Sorry guys, I got a beagle who is going crazy down there. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. I don't even know where we were. But yeah, Ferrum, you basically said Walmart tins with Evolving Skies all over Reddit. Yeah, that's the play I was talking about. It's okay to miss some plays. Like, there's going to be more plays. Certainly not going to be the last play this holiday season. There's just going to be a million opportunities out there. So, the only thing I could say is continue to be patient. It's not a bad thing to stay liquid and be ready, because you just never know. We're only to November 26th, so it's tough for me to think that that's going to be the best play that we're going to see this holiday season. So I still have my hopes up. I'm not, I'm definitely a little upset I didn't kind of trust myself a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? You can't go back and change it. So no use in kind of dwelling on it at this point. Let's see here. Yeah, so everybody's told me this is definitely a lot of work. I'm hoping kind of going forward that um, it's not going to be as as intensive. Um, Mainly because I don't have a system in place right now. The good thing is I do have a verbal yes that I'll get some help for my fiance. So I'm hoping that that's going to be a big help as well. Okay, so there's two different variants of this Iron Valiant. A lot of irons in this set. This is Temporal Forces. Um, so that's kind of the goal going forward is I want to create an outlet so that I can go out and purchase collections and things like that, or even if I'm ripping, sets, new modern sets, I have the opportunity to basically list them. Okay, only two Ks, only one L, or no, not one L. So, hence the reason I am taking the plunge at this point and just doing it. No. A lot of M's in this set. Like a lot of M's. Jeez. So, yeah. I don't know. Going forward, it's going to be interesting. I think we're also. I mean, if we kind of think about Sword and Shield, you know, I think we're kind of getting to that point where, I mean, we're almost making a turn after this year. At middle of next year, we're going to be making a turn into a new era shortly after that. So I don't like to say I don't like to say, it's now or never, but it's really starting to feel like it's now or never. So if you have been waiting and putting off jumping into Sword and Shield at this point, I think now is going to be the time to do it, or maybe you wait till the spring and you jump in at that point, because I don't think there's going to be too many other opportunities. I mean, we just saw this massive tin drop with all this product that hit the market, and I it's going to be. I guess it's hard for me to believe that we're going to have a whole bunch more of these drops going forward. And it might be possible, but you just don't know. And this is me speaking to the individuals who are thinking about jumping into Sword and Shield, right? I myself, I kind of already made my gains. I kind of already cashed out. I'm happy with what I have right now. I'm not looking to increase how much I'm sitting on. But yeah, I'm speaking to those who are, thinking about it. Two Qs. And the other thing too, I kind of wonder about is, vintage, and, if we'll ever see a return like we saw before. Because I know that original sort of boom that we had with the COVID catalyst and the Logan Pauls of the world, and basically the pump and dumps that occurred. outside of that, it's hard for me to see without some sort of additional catalyst. It's hard for me to see vintage making this huge return again, like it once used to. And to that same point, it's also hard for me to see the prices that you can pick up some of these vintage cards at. Like, it doesn't necessarily make sense to me that you can pick up like a first edition PSA 9, let's say like Neo Genesis, I don't know, Typhlosion or for Alligator or something. And, you know, you're looking at some of these modern cards that have thousands and thousands of pop, and, you know, they're selling for double or triple that in like a PSA 10. So it's just something, you know, I've been kind of thinking about. And obviously, you know, there is a pretty easy explanation, at least at a high level, and that's supply and demand, right? So just because, you know, boxes of these vintage sets are so much more expensive, that doesn't necessarily mean that the market values those individual cards, you know, graded and slabbed up more than, you know, our modern counterparts. So I get that. I'm you know, you kind of look at that and you say, okay, is there a period where the current market what's up, guys, how's it going? Chris found Alakazam 151 boxes in Walmart today. Yeah, that Alakazam 151 box, I think that box is going to be very hard to come by in the future. I was able to pick up, I was able to pick up 6 of them. I wish I had like 50 of them, honestly, but 6 of them is the most I've ever been able to come by. I wish I picked some up during the initial drop. But that 151 Alakazam box, it's hard to find. It's just hard to find. There's really no other way to to spin it, you know? So that's one of those boxes. I guess what I'm getting at is that's one of those boxes where I might not break that down. I would probably keep that sealed, because the individual box itself, even though you could probably break down the packs and the promos and sell those separately and you know, still do well on that, I think the individual box rarity is going to outperform breaking it down and going with a play like that. So but yeah, anyways, the Alakazam 151 boxes, if you can find them, pick them up. I'm a big advocate of those boxes. Yeah, what's up, BC? How you doing? Yeah, everybody's got different like usernames from platform to platform, so it's hard to keep everybody straight. But we're doing some bulk sorting here. I just shut my laptop down for the week, so I'm kind of on holiday time now, and I'm getting ready for TCG Player. So whether or not they're expensive cards, inexpensive cards, I'm kind of taking the plunge at this point, and I'm going to list a whole bunch of them, starting with my more modern bulk, the reverse hollows, the rares, and obviously all the like full arts and stuff, which I do have a good amount of those as well. But yeah, that's what we're doing. So we're just hanging out. We're just having a conversation about the market. If you guys have anything you want to discuss, by all means, throw it in the chat. We can discuss it. If you have any questions, what I'm thinking. But I still think, you know, any 151 product at all, I think is a good buy right now. Even if they reprint it in the spring, I think the demand is too high to fit. You know, not to fail. I don't think fail is the right word, but I think that 151 is just going to continue to do well. So that is our Temporal Forces reverse hollow stack there. So far I've got the Surging Sparks complete and Temporal Forces for both the hollows and the reverse hollows. I think now we're probably going to move into Paldean Fates. Paldean Fates I did not rip as much of. So there's not as many. So these are just the hollows. So we'll start with these. So yeah, this is I could see why people say selling singles is a grind. Because if you don't have a solid system in place, it's tough. It's definitely time consuming, and you got to like doing this and basically playing with cardboard, right? That's essentially what you're doing. So yeah. So the big question so the big question I keep getting is if Surging Sparks is drying up. So I've heard conflicting things, not even conflicting things. I've just heard a bunch of different stuff, and it's kind of hard, right? I don't like to speculate unless I really know, but I can tell you what I do know. And I do know that there was an individual who has distributor access who essentially said, they were given, I think it was 7,000 boxes of Stellar Crown booster boxes. They basically, they got everything they wanted. And then when it came to Surging Sparks, they asked for the exact same amount, and they only received 2,700 booster boxes. So there was this massive cut. And, nobody really knows, was that cut a result of other LGSs that, haven't been ordering Pokemon in the past, that are just now saying, oh, it's Surging Sparks and now there's more hype, so we're going to order it now. Therefore, other people get cut more of their numbers, or did they truly just not print enough? And I think it's potentially a combination of both, but I don't think anybody really knows unless you're working within Pokemon, right? So that's where I think there's been a lot of speculation from those in the market, and I don't think anybody truly knows. I think there are definitely some bigger individuals who probably know the answer to that, but are just withholding it for whatever reason. But as far as drying up, I mean, drying up is, I guess it kind of depends on what your definition of drying up is, because drying up to me is the product is landing in the hands of people who are truly going to hold it longer term or end up ripping it. So when that product reaches that individual who either rips it or intends on never reselling it, then I think the product is really drying up. Right now, I think what you're seeing a lot of people who are just getting greedy and they're jumping into this and they don't really know what they're doing. And they're saying, oh my God, Pokemon's going to the moon. We're just going to buy as much of this Surging Sparks product as we can get. Right. And then you have this situation where you have all the current people who have been in the hobby for the last 5 to 6 years who are ordering the same amount or more because it's a hotter set. And then you have all these new bodies who are coming in, taking up additional supply. So I don't know that it's necessarily drying up as it is just being kind of hoarded. That being said, I think that there's a lot of individuals who are just truly buying boxes to rip it and enjoy the set. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, right? I think there's a lot of variables involved. At the end of the day, it is the most popular set in Scarlet Violet besides 151. I think that's an obvious kind of observation we can take away from this. Sorry, I'm moving these over to the sorted pile here, and I'll get to the rest of the questions. I know we got some other questions. Paldean Fates reverse. So yeah, so I don't think it's drying up personally. And I think it's difficult to say that we're not going to get any more, because I think Pokemon is going to adjust. I think they saw Surging Sparks, the print run and the print numbers were not high enough to meet the demand. So I think they're going to probably go back and reprint that, if anything. One second, guys. I'm having some issues with the connection. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. Yeah, what's up, C3? How we doing? So what is the estimate amount you make off the reverses hollows on TCG players? So this is not something that I have started doing yet. What I can tell you, Illuminari, is that I started up on Mercari, that selling platform, and that is how I got into this hobby and how I established really a relationship and a brand name for myself. So I had probably over 1,000 sales on that platform, and ever since the wholesale program, I've kind of focused all my attention on that. And I want to get back into kind of selling individual cards because I've got a lot of, a lot of bulk from more vintage to modern, just kind of sitting off to the side collecting dust. So I want to try to capitalize on that and create another outlet for me to sell the inventory that I have available. And that includes sealed product as well. But as far as that goes, I don't anticipate making a whole bunch. I don't anticipate making a whole bunch of money. I think what I'd like to start doing is just capitalize on the playability and the player base, because that's what I think TCG Player does, and that's what I think they sell to the most. So that's that's kind of my intent here. And I think it's just going to further boost the brand too. So there's going to be multiple benefits to this. Is just getting exposure on another platform. Full transparency, right? I don't think it hurts to kind of spread across multiple platforms and get exposure that way. So that's also going to be some of the benefit here too. I don't expect to, pay the bills with the money that I'm pulling in from this. After all, a lot of this is product that I've ripped myself. So I'm already going to be in the hole. I'm just kind of recouping a lot of the funds, if you will. But yeah, so on the distro side is what's out there is all that we'll get for a while. I'm assuming you're talking about for Surging Sparks, and the answer to that is probably going to be yes. I think the last time this happened was the COVID timeframe, and it took Pokemon a good 6 to 12 months to adjust their numbers, right? And they had to go back, and they basically Battle Styles and Chilling Reign, because I was there for that. Kind of skyrocketed at release, and then what happened was they went back, they printed a whole bunch, and they essentially printed way too much, and that's why we saw Chilling Reign boxes at $80 for the longest time. Was because the market just couldn't absorb that product. It just couldn't absorb that product. So I think that Pokemon is going to make an adjustment, and I think they'll make an adjustment hopefully by the time the Rocket set comes out, because I think that's going to be really important, because that Rocket set is going to do really well. So we will see how it goes. Obviously there's a lot of concern with being able to get product, and I completely get that. They have not demonstrated the ability to get enough product out to the general public when it came to Surging Sparks. At least it's just a lot of speculation at this point. Nobody really knows. I'm at the end of the day, I'm kind of the opinion that a lot of what they do, a lot of what Pokemon does is planned. I fail to accept the the belief that they just kind of do whatever, and they don't plan and they don't project. So I don't know if this was anticipated. They plan to create hype, right? Because hype for them is good, right? Hype for them is a good thing, because then everybody wants their product. They never had any issues selling it, and their distributors are just constantly asking for more product. So I struggle to believe that some of this that is going on right now in the market was not preemptive and pre-planned by them or by distributors or by big box retailers. I think there's a lot of people doing a lot of market research, and I think that they have a lot of tools in their back pocket, and they know when to probably put a kink in the hose and hold back on product and supply in order to get the most sales and to, essentially keep market momentum going and hype going. I think that's a very real thing that I think a lot of people kind of fail to realize, or at least fail to consider, is that I think a lot of this is part of their doing, and it was potentially on purpose. As much as I hate to say that, I truly believe that is the part of what's going on. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to throw them out. I'm gonna grab another stack here. I just got through Paldean Fates. And I do want to hear from you guys too. Do you, I guess, what are you guys picking up? Right. Obviously, I see what's being purchased in the wholesale program. Obviously, Twilight Masquerade is very hot. We just saw pretty much all the Twilight Masquerade product go to limited and or removed from the sheet from distro 2. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Twilight Masquerade when that all dries up as well. All right, so we just did Paldean Fates. We'll get into Paradox Rift now. All right. But yeah, it's just crazy how the last really 5 to 6 years, the hobby's just changed so much. And I know that there are people who have been in this hobby and doing this for much longer than me. But 5 to 6 years in this hobby just feels like an eternity, but it also doesn't feel like it's been that long. Because 5 to 6 years truly is not that long, but it feels like an eternity because of all the change that's come. So, if we've seen this much change in the last 5 to 6 years, I can only imagine how much change we're going to see going forward with AI and everything else. And, just there's a lot, I don't know, just a lot of change going on. I'm just starting out, really got into Pokemon for an extra income source, but I'm learning a lot more about investments from it. Yeah. And it's, the number one way you can enjoy this is, make sure you're not overextending yourself and overcommitting yourself and leveraging and putting things on credit cards, right? Make sure that, you're doing this responsibly, because that's truly one of the ways that you're not going to feel burned out or feel like it's another job. It's really important that, we're saying these things out loud, because I know a lot of people, I don't want to say all content creators and people who sell product, but it is important to kind of throw that out sometimes too, and just make sure, I don't know. At the end of the day, you can take a bunch of different stances, right? I believe everybody is more than willing to make their own decisions, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt to kind of put some voice of reason out there and make sure people are doing the right thing, and just kind of looking out for people and being a voice of reason too. But yeah, to that point, Luminary, very expensive to keep up with new releases, and you never really want to FOMO into sets. It's tough, right? Because you really you want to be part of the hobby, but you want to do it responsibly. And if you have an outlet, right, if you've built an outlet, which takes time to build, a customer base, which takes time to build, and you're confident you can move product, then maybe leverage is for you, right? If you're doing it responsibly and you've done it, um, it comes with experience, and really only you can answer that for yourself. Um, so you just want to make sure you're doing the right thing. You're not overextending yourself. And, you want to make sure that, like, if you're going to buy and hold product, you can truly hold it. Right. And let's say that if the product all goes to zero tomorrow, it's not going to hurt you financially or in the future. Right. That's kind of how you should be looking at things. So, and there's other resources too. It's good to bounce ideas off of other people, right? In the Discord, other Discords, in the community, right? I've found that, if you're really looking for people who are, usually it's the people who tell you not necessarily what you want to hear, that are the people you should be listening to, that aren't like just echoing the same, I would say, 4 or 5 things that the hobby usually says, or that you hear on like mainstream YouTube channels and stuff. It's usually the people that are telling you to, slow down, think about it, really make sure that you're doing the right thing, or those are the people you should be kind of listening to. And ultimately the goal is for you to make your own decisions and be able to determine what is right for you and what's wrong for you. So, but, yeah, it's, so that's all Paradox. So Luminari, are you thinking of starting the TCG player route? Because I can tell you already, this is definitely some work. I have been making progress here, but it's definitely time consuming. You gotta like you gotta like doing this for sure. For me personally, I like doing this because it's something that I get to build and I created myself. Obviously not the TCG, but I just love the ability to kind of go out and, it's you, and, your name's behind it. And, I don't know, you get to build, right? It's, I just think that's so cool. So that's also one of the things, right? It's just, this whole hobby is very entrepreneurial. If you really want something, you can just go get it. Like, there's so many opportunities everywhere. As long as you're being responsible. But there's so many opportunities, to, enjoy the hobby, but also make money in a lot of different ways. Again, a lot of iron cards. But I'm gonna be excited. Actually, I'm gonna be excited to see when my TCG player account gets unlocked again, because it still hasn't been. Yeah. So if you go, I guess, Luminari, if you go up onto the, or if you go up onto TCG player, the common bulk, I think people still sell it on TCG player. Like, a lot of like LGSs and stuff sell on TCG player. And that's, people will be able to shop by shop, right? So if I want to turn a filter on and only buy from a specific store, I can do that. And then I can buy, like, let's say I want to make a deck, right? I can buy like 50 to 100 cards, and you would buy even like the cheaper cards. But if you're buying everything from one place, then it makes sense, because you're only paying shipping once for that bulk amount of cards. So that's kind of the whole reason I'm doing this. And I'm casting kind of a wider net, at least to get started, because I have no reputation on there. I'm basically going to be starting from scratch. So that's kind of the whole reason I'm going this route. And really just listing everything at this point. But for me, what I did before was I would basically just get rid of the bulk, and I'll probably still do that. Honestly, I'll probably still like the non-hollow, like non-rare, well, non-hollow rares, and then just all the non-hollow cards in general. I'll just go ahead and donate those. Essentially, donate those. There's a guy that lives close to me that he'll buy some product for me sometimes, and he makes decks for kids locally. And I usually just give him like, if I have like tins, if I have like dice, if I have coins and stuff from ETBs, like I basically just give him everything. And I say, just take it, because he's kind of doing me a favor by taking it off my hands, and I'm not throwing it out and wasting it. And I also don't feel like selling it, because it's really not worth the time to sell it. So it's kind of a good relationship in that sense. And we're both kind of helping each other out. So he supports me, buys product for me, and I give him, at the time, whatever else I have. And, I essentially just give those to him. All right. So there's our Paradox Rift. And eventually I am going to have to load these onto TCG Player, which is going to take some time, but I do have a lot of Sword and Shield product as well. So that's lots of product to get through, but it's all good. It's all good stuff. All right. So Paradox. So I've heard that it can be donated to charity somewhere and use it as a tax write-off. Yeah, you can definitely do that. And I might start doing that, right? It's definitely not, it's not really something I've done in the past, but I know some people do it. So that's definitely something to look into if you have an accountant that you talk to regularly. Definitely explore that, right? If you can capitalize on write-offs, you should always do that. I'm not the best at doing that, but I do. Yeah, it's something you have to kind of consult with your accountant. But usually, like if you're donating and stuff, I do my fair share of donations to charities each year. Then that's something you can definitely write off on a yearly basis. So definitely want to take advantage if you can. But yeah, I wish I wish vintage product was more affordable, because it would just be fun to open. Definitely get a lot of enjoyment opening older product. It's just so damn expensive, unfortunately. So I definitely have a good amount of Paradox Rift reverse foils here. I'm really going to be excited when they unlock my account, because I really want to get going and I want to start listing this stuff for the holidays. So whether or not it's going to sell well, I have no idea. I'm sure that's a whole other discussion point, but time will tell. So let's see here. We're at about an hour. I'll probably say if you have any other questions for anybody who's still watching, if you want to drop them in the chat, I'll probably wrap it up here in the next, 15 minutes ish. I do have to go take the dog for a walk. I know he's probably very anxious to get out and move around a little bit. Dog sleeps like basically all day. I don't know how, but basically when I get through this pile, I'll probably end the live at that point. Trying to think of what else has been going on lately. Yeah, I know everybody's we'll talk wholesale here. I know everybody's anxious to see what's going on with those distro 3 orders, where I think it was like Paldea and Obsidian Flames close to, I think, like $600 ish a booster box case. So I still have not heard anything. You know, I'm waiting to hear back. Obviously, everything kind of goes a little bit slower around the holidays, and we're getting to that point now. But hopefully, we hear some good news soon. But at the same time, at that price and with the number of orders that were placed, I'm not holding my breath, unfortunately. So, but all right. So I think, we're at just about the hour mark. Probably give it a couple more minutes just to get to the hour mark. I don't know if that actually matters, but just trying to I'm trying to get more content out there. Not sure that people will actually listen to this all the way through, but just trying to do more live content. And I know that we'll get the FCC live back up and running again, where we bring members on, get them some exposure, talk about what they're doing, kind of what their objectives are and stuff like that, and kind of give them just, I don't know, some space to kind of talk, because I know that that's been pretty good in the past to do that. I know some of the other members have loved that kind of coming up. Yeah, so why don't we call it here? But either way, appreciate you guys for sticking around, that we're here. And again, I intend to do more live content going forward. Mostly this longer form stuff. And so appreciate you guys for sticking around, and we'll see you next time.